If you feel like your sight reading is super slow and frustrating, you've come to the right place. I recently heard an adult piano player say that sight reading was like having a bunch of balls flying at your face at the same time, which I thought was a really accurate description of what sight reading can be like. But it doesn't have to be. In this video, I'm gonna share with you 3 secrets that can help you master the art of sight reading so that you can just sit down and play without as many of those annoying interruptions from wrong notes or balls flying at your head. Now in this video, not only am I gonna make sure that you know the exact steps to take to become a pro sight reader, I also have a very exciting time-sensitive announcement just for you at the end of the video, so make sure you stay tuned. So the first secret to master sight reading is to know about musical patterns. Being able to sight read well is all about being able to recognize patterns quickly. When you see a pro open up a piece of music and they're able to sight read it really well and very musically on the first try, it's not that they possess some sort of magical ability. It's that they're able to look at a score and really quickly find all of the musical patterns, because that's what music is. And if you're opening up a score and you're still seeing individual notes, you're never going to be able to sight read with fluidity or without a lot of mistakes because you're looking at the individual notes. I like to compare it to learning how to read in the English language. So first you learn your letters, right? And you learn individual letters, but then you don't stop there. You can't open up a Shakespeare play and be able to read it fluidly and understand it if you're looking at every single word as individual letters. When you're learning how to read in English, the next thing that you learn is usually like a pair of 2 letters, like TH or CH. And then you would learn small sight words like the, and before you know it, you're seeing entire chunks of several words and you're able to read them very quickly and also understand them very quickly. And the same is true with music. You can't get stuck on the individual notes. That's like getting stuck on the individual letters. You've got to move beyond that and you've got to learn the other really common musical patterns like intervals and chords and scale patterns. And once you memorize those patterns and you start to be able to recognize them in musical examples, then you start to become very proficient at patterns, and that allows you to sight read with a lot more speed. The second secret to master sight reading is the process. And the process is what you do before you put your hands on the keys to sight read a piece. And the process is actually the most important part of sight reading. A lot of people think that what happens when you're playing is the test or is the most important part, but it's actually the process that happens beforehand that's going to set you up for success when you actually put your hands on the keys. The process is all about being a detective and going through the piece of music, regardless of how simple it is, and dissecting everything. You're wrapping your head around all of the patterns and all of the musical symbols and anything else that you see in the music that's going to help you so that when you put your hands on the keys, you already have a really good sense of what's going on in that piece of music. Most people might spend like 10 or 20 seconds just kind of really quickly glancing through the piece, but I actually recommend that people do this for at least 5 minutes and that you set a timer so that you ensure that you spend the full 5 minutes going through that process of dissecting the piece before you actually play it. Now, the third secret is to practice sight reading the right way. You do actually have to practice sight reading, and practicing sight reading is very different than practicing the large, challenging pieces that you're working on as a regular part of your repertoire. I recommend that people practice both. You're actually working on very similar skill sets, but when you practice sight reading, you should be practicing at a much lower level than the challenging pieces that you're working on. And this gives you a chance to work on a lot of the same skills, but in much smaller, more digestible chunks. And you're going through a new piece every single practice session. So when you do it this way, not only do you get better at sight reading, you also actually really strengthen the skills that are required to learn those bigger, more challenging pieces as well. Now, if you've heard these 3 secrets and you feel like you've tried these things and they're not working, you're gonna be really interested in this next part. So I've created 3 incredibly comprehensive resources that you can use to take you through these 3 secrets. So one of the resources is all about the patterns and how to memorize them and become super fluent in them. Another resource really breaks down the process in a very detailed way so that you don't have any questions about how to go through that process. And then the third resource actually has 50+ sight reading examples that you can use to practice during your regular practice routine to make sure that you're actually carving out time to practice sight reading. These resources are for anyone that's pretty serious about improving their sight reading skills and using sight reading to help improve your learning skills when it comes to those more challenging pieces. I've never done something like this before and I'm so excited to unveil it for the very first time here on the channel. Starting on July 10th, I will be teaching a 6-week live class designed to help you master the art of sight reading so that you can sit down at the piano and just play and learn anything you set your heart on. Now, at the time of filming this video, there are 23 of 25 spots available. This is the first public announcement of the sight reading class, and those spots are going to go really, really fast. Now, not only do you get those 3 resources that I was just talking about when you enroll for this class, you also get a very high touch experience of being face-to-face with me in a virtual classroom for 6 weeks. You're also going to get access to the Sight Reading Collective, which is the community that's going to be opened just for the people enrolled in this class. Now, for those of you that have never worked live with me before or that have never taken a class from me before, you should know that by the end of this experience, you will be a completely different piano player than you are right now. So if you want to master the art of sight reading, go ahead and use the link in the description and grab your spot before they all disappear, or you can also use the link right here on the end screen.